If you know me, you know my favorite movie is Waiting to Exhale. And when my girl Angela Bassett went up to his job talking about you cleared out the bank accounts and slapped that side chick, that's the vibe that we're on. Because how dare you? I don't give a fuck if I was just at home raising the kids, ironing your clothes, and fucking you when you want it. That's more than enough. That's more than enough. You better put some money to the side or I'm coming for it all. Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Let Me Just Say This. If you're new here, hello, welcome to the vibe, welcome to the tribe. Go ahead and subscribe. And if you're watching, hello, hey from the living room once again. I know your girl was gone for a little bit. I'm sorry. Okay, that's all I got. I'm sorry. Forgive me. Now, we are here today though to talk about finances. We're talking money, okay? We're not talking money in dating like I usually do. We're talking money as in being a strong, independent baddie getting to your baggie, okay? Because at the end of the day, I've realized that my relationship with money has morphed and changed over the course of these years, especially as I've obtained more of it. The way that I maneuver and the way I move with money is a lot different than what it used to be. And I know these days it's super hard for everybody out there. The economy in America is quite bad. Quite bad. We're on the cusp of a recession. Yes, I know. And I get it that the girls don't have a lot. They don't have a lot of that moolah. Today, I just want to give you guys a couple of the things that I think are most important when it comes to finances, specifically managing your money as a young woman. As a young woman, these are some of the things that you have to have in check because at the end of the day, you can only rely on yourself. And I know there's a lot of us out there we're waiting for Prince Charming to come along, sit us down, make us housewives, and not all of us. There's plenty of us out here who are pursuing dreams and aspirations and careers. But I will undoubtedly say that it is nice having somebody else pay the bills. As a young woman who has been paying my bills for far too long, I've been paying my own bills my entire life. It's ghetto. It's ghetto. So I would be lying if I said I wasn't happy and welcoming to any man that I love, that's fine, who treats me right and respects me and knows how to do everything that I like him to do, to come and sit me down and be like, okay, I got that. Focus on your aspirations. Focus on your dreams. Listen, that fairy tale is probably never going to happen and it's actually inherently dangerous. So we're going to talk about that on today. And I really hope you guys enjoy this episode. So let's go ahead and get right on into it. If you were to look at my YouTube feed, you would see a lot of commentary videos on the current economic state, the housing market, TikTok rants from people complaining about not having enough money, not being paid enough, inflation, the cost of education, the cost of healthcare, the cost of life in general, everything's a subscription. Things like that actually interest me a lot because I'm always looking to see when the other shoe is going to drop. I pray that this housing market crashes, baby. I want to buy a house. I want to buy a house. Now, there are two main opinion points that I've seen prevailing in terms of who was responsible for a person not having enough money, right? Is that person inherently just bad with money, or is it because the game is rigged against them? And I know that two things can be true, okay? Multiple things can be true all at the same time. But I think it's easy to play the victim instead of reassessing what you should be doing in order to better your financial situation. If you watch YouTubers like Caleb Hammer, he has people on this show called Financial Audit.
You spent $392! You spent it on Shein and Temu! Temu, and no, you will never sponsor me, Temu. Stop emailing. You're a terrible company.
And basically, he goes through their bank statements, their finances, their debt, and they talk everything. And a lot of the time, it comes out that these people are spending a lot on fast food, or they're making bad purchases, or frivolous spending, or just not paying down debt and not paying bills on time and racking up a bunch of interest.
I don't think I've made a single payment on those student loans since I've had them.
Great, you don't feel responsible to pay back money you borrow?
It's not that, I guess.
Well, yes. Go on.
I don't have the degree for it.
Yeah, but you borrowed it. I don't have the degree. I'm paying on mine.
I know I borrowed it, but it's not that I don't plan on paying it back.
It's been over a decade.
I know.
I think the harsh reality is that the vast majority of Americans are financially illiterate. Illiterate and highly impressionable by apps like TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, everywhere. Anything that you see is liable to be selling you something, a service, a product, a lifestyle. And a lot of the time people do fall victim to it. I mean, not victim, but they give in. They give in. And I would be lying if I said I wasn't guilty. I've gotten caught up by the Instagram ads before as well, girl. They get me too. They get me too. But when I get to that cart, when it's time to press checkout and proceed with my purchase, I reevaluate and I ask myself, Naya, do you really need this? Do you really need this? Or were you just influenced? Do you really need this? Or is this an impulse buy? Is this like a late night purchase? Is this like, oh my God, I want to feel better about myself because I'm sad purchase? You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. We have to call a spade a spade. Many people who are struggling financially could be doing better if they had better spending habits, if they had better saving habits, or if they had better work ethic. I'm sorry. Because down with corporate America, down with these businesses, down with, all this toxic ass capitalism. Because yes, it is targeting you. Yes, it is preying upon you. And yes, it is making life harder for you. However, you don't need to buy that vacation on credit if you can't pay it back.
I just saw a report that said 36% of Americans are in travel debt willingly. That literally makes me want to throw up.
If you can't pay it back, why are you getting it? Like, why purchase things you can't pay off? Yeah, that's what it's giving. That's what it's giving these days. And I know there's a lot of commentary about dating and friendships when it comes to money. I really don't want to talk about that because at this stage in the game, baby, it's a free-for-all. Every man for themselves. So however you decide to manage finances when it comes to your dating life or your relationship, I do believe that is subject to the type of relationship and the type of standards that you have. Me personally, my standards have shifted a little bit, but I still stand on, I want to be with a provider because I know that I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that I can provide if I need to. And that's just who I am. You're right, but not everybody's like that. So I understand. Also, I'm not going 50-50.
I'm old school. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you like me unless you give me some money. How do I know? How do I know you like me if you don't send me a gift or give me some money? How?
I'm not going to talk any more about that. Actually, this particular clip of the podcast won't even be posted to social media because I don't have time to be attacked in the comments by these incel men who don't have as much as 2 nickels to rub together. Okay? So I'm going to leave that right there. Now, let's go ahead and get into some of the reasons why these people are bad with money. And when I say these people, I might be talking about you. And in some instances, I might be talking about me. Let's get into it. So, of course, we've already touched on this. The big thing is overspending.
It's always material girl instead of you are an overspender. You are spending too much money on things that you do not need.
Stop buying shit you cannot afford. Stop making purchases that you don't need to make. Stop buying things just because you see people on social media have them. You don't need it, okay? TikTok is trying to sell you something every second of the damn day. And if you were to buy everything, I promise you, you will go flat broke and none of that shit is gonna last. It's not gonna last. It's temporary purchases. And that's where they really get off on you. They entice you to buy all of these things that don't last. They don't last. And I know quality is expensive. And so I don't fault people who don't have the money to purchase higher quality items because they tend to be what? More expensive. But at the end of the day, that is not your excuse to go out and buy this stupid trendy TikTok dress that they're selling for $40 when in reality, you can probably get it from Rainbow for $5. Be for real. Be for real. Make conscious buying decisions. Now, me personally, like I said, I'm not going to lie. I have made some dumb purchases in my life for sure. I have wasted money. I'm not going to lie. I have wasted my fair share of money on food, on clothing, on things I thought I needed, but I didn't. And it's just like, woo, like I wasted $100. I got VIP for me and my sister at the Thames concert in Atlanta. Didn't go in the VIP for like a lick of a minute. I went up, scoped the scenery out, and went back out to the floor. $100 gone down the drain. Never getting it back. Never getting it back. But I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I feel like $100 is like $1 these days. But I will acknowledge that I am speaking from a place of privilege when I talk about not making dumb purchases, because I don't think it's talked about enough how some people can make dumb purchases and it doesn't impact them as much because they have the money. They have the money. And by the grace of God, I make really good money. I have a really good income. I can waste a little bit of money here and there and still be okay. Now, does that mean I should? No. Even if you can do something doesn't mean you should, which is why some of these purchases that people make just because you can afford it, quote unquote, or maybe literally you can, doesn't mean you need it. And I say that all the time. And I have to remind myself of that all the time so that I'm not out here just buying shit willy-nilly just because. And I think we have to really check our relationship with money. We really have to check our relationship with money because growing up, we didn't have a lot of money. I didn't grow up with a silver spoon or with a family that had a lot of money. You know, I have family members who struggle to this day. So being that as it is, my relationship with money was very like scarcity mindset. Like I need to save this money and hoard this away and stash this away because I'm afraid of going broke. That's how I was for a very long time. I was very frugal and I was a big saver because I was afraid of going broke because I grew up poor. And then one day I looked at all the money in my savings and I was like, yo, I'm about to go live my life and have so much fun. And I did, and I don't regret it, but there was nothing wrong with me being a saver. There was nothing wrong with me being frugal. There was nothing wrong with me searching for the deals and using coupons and buying on sale. These are things I naturally did because I didn't have a lot of money already. So when I got my money, I was more like, oh, yeah, I'm not buying that unless I can get it for 50% off, girl. Like, that's just me. That's just me. The other part of healing your relationship with money when it comes to impulse spending is the fact that there are some people who didn't have a lot of money and when they get it, they can't keep it. If you're one of those people where as soon as you get your check, it's gone, it's giving spend a check, get it right back.
Spend a check and get it right back. They lie, y'all. Once you spend it, it's gone. And you got to wait a whole another 2 weeks, y'all. Don't spend it. Don't spend it because it's not coming back. They really need to change them lyrics. They need to be like, spend a check and have to stretch $10 for 2 weeks until you get another check.
Baby, you might want to heal your relationship with money. There's a reason why you can't keep $1 in your pocket. And it might be because you're not used to having it. It might be because nobody taught you the value and the importance of saving and investing first. You know what I'm saying? It might be because you just feel like this is your last moment, might as well spend it and live it up. Sometimes that's just what it is. And all of that, you might want to think about where that stems from. Your relationship with money. And it starts when we're kids. It starts what we see from our parents. That's why I think it's so important for parents to foster an environment where kids can have healthy relationships with money. Because nowadays, a lot of children, and honestly not nowadays, this is since the dawn of time, people in general idolize people with money. People make money the center point, the focal point of their life. I'm getting to a bag. And there's nothing wrong with getting to your bag, but money can't be your end all be all. Money can't be the only thing in your life that you live and die for. You know what I'm saying? Money is a tool. Money gets you the things that you need to survive. Money can get you convenience. Money can get you peace, but it's not going to buy you love. It's not going to buy you happiness. And at the end of the day, it comes and it goes. So if you are the type of person where your whole reliance for your identity, for your self-worth, for your own personal value relies solely on how much money you have and your appearances when it comes to finances, I think you may have a problem on your hand because the economy is only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse. Recently, I decided to buy a second car. And I haven't even bought the car yet. I just made the decision that, yes, I'm gonna get a second car. I paid off my car. Woo, woo, woo. For me, I paid off my car. My first car came on sale, love her down. And I decided, okay, it's time for me to get my grown car. It's time for me to get my big girl car, my grown and sexy car. And you know what they say about, oh, people buy cars for appearances or whatever. You motherfucking right. Yes, you're right. I do want to pull up in a sexy 2025 Kia K5, bumping sexy red, loud as fuck, hop out, bundles swinging, you know, I got my little bag on me, my outfit, I'm looking good. Yes, I would like a car that matches my aesthetic, but also, I'm not making a purchase out of pure aesthetics. I'm not making a purchase out of pure, you know, I just want to look good. I want to keep up with the Joneses. This is actually something I've worked for. This is something I've saved for. I spend a lot of time thinking about ways to make sure my payments are lower, ways to mitigate anything as far as my insurance costs are concerned. I'm actually making a conscious decision. Sometimes when you can do what you want, that's fine. But other times when all you can do is what you can, you have to make smarter purchasing decisions. Sometimes you can't get that new car off the lot. I don't even necessarily believe in buying new cars off the lot, but if I get a 2025, it's going to be off the lot. I'm sorry. It is what it is. But sometimes you don't need that really new thing. Sometimes you don't need that really expensive thing. Sometimes you do have to justify certain purchases. And if it doesn't make sense, you don't need to buy it. The next thing I want to touch on is credit. Baby, credit is probably one of the most important things in your financial life, okay? If there's anything that needs to be in order for you to be able to actually get and do things, it is your credit. It's your credit. And there's no doubt that good credit gets you into a lot more doors than bad credit does.
Yeah.
Kids don't understand that. Right, if you don't have your credit together,
Yeah.
housing, on the buying side of things, forget about it. Rental side of things,
Forget about it.
there's certain places that, like work-wise, if your credit ain't up to scratch,
Don't even let you work there.
certain places.
Oh, right.
And I get it. In some ways, cash is king. If you want to keep your debt low, cash can be king. But in a lot of ways, you're undercutting yourself from other things by not using credit properly or at all. Now, I want to say this clear and plain, okay? You have to pay back whatever you purchase on credit. Whatever you swipe with that credit card, you have to pay it back. Maybe that comes as a shock or a surprise, honey, but a lot of people don't understand how credit works. They don't understand that you have to pay that money back. They don't understand that your credit score can be a determining factor in whether or not you have a place to live or not. Whether or not you can get that car. And I think when you can manage credit the right way, as in paying off your debts, keeping your utilization below, they say 30%, I say below 10. Keep your credit utilization below 10 and you'll be golden, okay? Golden. And work to get your credit score higher, right? With having good payment history, you can have a variety of credit cards. You don't just need one credit card. You could have multiple credit cards as long as you are paying them off to avoid interest charges, to avoid late fees. These things can boost your credit up and really help you elevate financially in ways that you may not even understand yet. Now, we can't talk about credit without discussing Afterpay, Affirm, Klarna. Girl, the buy now, pay later. Back in my day, it was called layaway, okay? Which you literally laid that thing away, made payments on it, and then you came and got it once you paid it off.
Buy now, pay later it's probably one of my number one most hated forms of debt. It's so sneaky. And by their own words, they're like, oh, we're better than credit cards because, we don't charge interest right away and it's 4 easy payments. It's that whole thing. And they've infiltrated so sneakily into everything. I mean, it's Amazon, it's food, it's gas, it's
pizza delivery.
It's
everything. It's everywhere.
Don't get me wrong. Buy now, pay later services can be very helpful, especially for bigger purchases, bulk purchasing. Perfectly fine. I don't think there's an issue with making payments on bigger purchases, even if it's through something like Afterpay or Klarna. However, you have to understand that you have to pay these things back. And the results of them, people don't get that. Afterpay, Klarna, Affirm, those things can impact your credit. Once you stop paying, which essentially means you default, they report that to the credit bureaus. Just because you're not getting a credit check when you sign up for these services does not mean, well, Affirm you do, but does not mean that they cannot report any defaults to the credit bureaus. They 1000% can. They can. And I think that's why it's so dangerous, because Afterpay, Affirm, those things are extremely easy to sign up for. Even more easy than credit cards, because at least a credit card can deny you. They can deny you. Affirm and them, they're not going to deny you. They may give you like a little credit limit, but they're not going to deny you. And they make a lot of money if you don't pay. That's the point. They are betting on you defaulting. They're going to bet on you defaulting.
Soon as I saw that trend of people using the buy now, pay later services to book travel, I knew it was a wrap. If you're going to use those services, at least pay off the last trip before you go on the next one. You're setting yourself up for failure.
The main issue with buy now, pay later services is that these people actually cannot afford the payments. You can't afford the payments, and you damn sure cannot afford to pay the total outright. If you can afford your payments, it really shouldn't be an issue. But if you can't afford your payments, baby, put it back. Close the cart. Close the cart. Nobody taught me how to use credit. I just knew my mama told me, don't fuck up your credit score. That's all. I taught myself. There are too many resources out here for people to not understand how credit works. You better go on NerdWallet. You better go on How Money Works. You better Google. Do your Googles and understand the impact of credit and how to use credit in your favor so that you can get cash back, you can get rewards points, you can get credit cards that have certain benefits and perks like the Amex Platinum, which I have that card because I was in the military, but that card is actually not for regular people. That card is for people who actually make good money, okay? That's not no regular person card, okay? Let me just throw that out there. But there are so many resources that, hell, you could probably get on TikTok and learn about credit. So use your resources and stop running your damn credit into the ground. You need that. Last thing I really want to touch on is saving and the importance of paying yourself first. Now, when I first started making money, it was my first time seeing that amount. When I was like 18 and I was fresh into the Navy, I think I was making like $1,600 a month. But for me, that was a lot of money because I didn't have that much before ever. And so I had an issue with saving. I recognized pretty early on that it was important for me to up my financial literacy if I wanted to keep my money. And like I said, I was so afraid of going broke that I was like, I need to make sure that I'm saving. I need to make sure that I have a nest egg and that, there's money just in case something happens. Mind you, I was in the military. I had every safety net around me that I could have possibly ever needed. But I was still like, how do I make more money? How do I invest? How do I save more? I remember I had this audiobook that I got on Audible called Clever Girl Finance. That was my first introduction to financial literacy as a young woman. And it taught me about saving and investing and credit and all that other stuff. And the big thing that stood out to me was the fact that when you are making money, you have to pay yourself first. You need to treat your savings as an expense. You need to treat it as a non-negotiable. Like, this needs to get paid too. Treat it like a bill so that you can finally start prioritizing that money and put that money somewhere else. It doesn't need to be easily accessible. I keep my savings in an entirely different bank account than where my actual money, like my checking is, you know? And after doing that, baby, when I tell you I was a serial saver, I was a serial saver. And don't get me wrong, 2023 was not a year of saving for me. 2023 was a year of pulling out of that savings. It was a year of, ooh, run it up. I'm not saving, but I remember I used to save for Christmas. I would start saving for Christmas in January, bro. I would allot an amount for Christmas, for vacations, for car. Like, I would put all types of money away. And I was blessed to be in the financial situation to be able to do that. So I understand not a lot of people have money left over to save. You know, that's another discussion about wages keeping up with the cost of living. But if you have something left over that you can put away, put that away. Especially when you're young. When you're young, this is your time to save. When you're young, you ain't got no kids. It's just you. This is the prime time for you to save and invest. Boy, do I wish I would have just put 5 racks into a damn CD or or an investment account and just left it. Set it and forget it. And 6 years later, came back to get it. One of my biggest regrets. I'm very finicky when it comes to investing sometimes. I'm a big saver, but I'm finicky when it comes to investing. I'm working on that. Pay yourself first and save money and have a rainy day fund. When your granny and your mama and your great granny were always telling you, have a little bit of money on the side just in case, they weren't lying. Sometimes you really need that. As a woman, it is exponentially important that you have your own money. I know we want a provider. I know we want a man or a partner who can come into our lives and take care of us and take care of everything, the fairy tale, la, 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 la. But listen, you have to have your own bag. You have to have your rainy day fund. You have to have money that just in case that person falls through, that you can pick up the slack, or if you need to jet, you have the opportunity and the ability to do so. Do you know how many women are stuck in situations solely because they don't have any money? Because they were stay-at-home wives or stay-at-home moms. They didn't develop any skill sets. They didn't, go to school during this time. They just stayed at home. They didn't have a side hustle. They didn't have any other income for themselves coming in, and they're stuck. They're stuck. I know a situation right now where a woman is with a man that she has no business being with, but can't leave because she has been his stay-at-home wife for like 7 years. She ain't got no work history. She has no job history. We really don't talk enough about how dangerous being a kept woman can be. Being a stay-at-home wife and mother, a trad wife, if you will, can be.
A kept wife is someone who is fully provided for by her husband. She may or may not make her own money, but it doesn't really matter because her money is for her and her alone. A kept wife is distinct from a housewife due to the lack of domestic labor performed by the kept wife, because her husband pays for other people, mostly women, to perform this domestic labor for the kept wife.
At the end of the day, there's a certain level of control and agency that you have to give up. When somebody else is providing everything for your livelihood, when all of your resources are wrapped into one person, there are certain things you can't do. And of course, this isn't every situation, but we've seen it time and time again where women are kept or trad wives or stay-at-home wives and mothers, and they're in situations that they can't leave because they don't have no job history, they don't have no money. They spent their entire time taking care and catering to these children or being at home, doing whatever, right? Not having any stream of income for themselves, not having any rainy day fund. And if shit goes left in that relationship, she might be left high and dry, or she'll be forced to stay because she has nothing to show for herself. And that's why it's so important as a young woman, as a woman in general, to ensure that you always have your own money. You need to have something for yourself. You need to have a rainy day fund. You need to have something to the side just in case you need to protect yourself. And I get it. A lot of us want to be kept. A lot of us want to be taken care of and spoiled and living this lavish lifestyle with somebody else paying all of the bills. But what comes with that is that person has a little bit of more control over you. What comes with that is maybe you can't raise your voice. Maybe you do need to do them damn dishes and fold up that laundry. Maybe you do. Maybe you end up in a situation with somebody you don't need to be with, but you can't leave. Because instead of prioritizing somebody who loves and respects you and is really seeking your best interest and wants to protect you and wants to build a life with you, you sought after somebody who was going to be a provider, and that was it. Are they a provider, or do they just have money and they can get you the things that you want, given you're acting and doing the things that they want? We should teach young women to seek out a partner that is not only a financial provider, but also a provider of a space of safety, support, love, compassion, security, understanding, someone who actually wants the best for you, not just seeks to provide, right? Financially, they're putting a roof over your head. They may bring home the bacon and you fry it up, but they're also seeing you as a person who wants to grow and prosper, and not just someone that they can possess because they can purchase you. I need some of my ladies to understand that when you chase after a man who has money solely because he has money and what he can do for you, you will likely come across somebody who thinks that they can purchase you, who thinks that they can buy you, okay? They can buy you for $600 bundles. They can buy you for that nice house in the hills. They can buy you for that car. They can buy you for that bag. They can buy you for whatever. Whatever. It's an exchange. They don't see you as a person. They see you as another thing that they can purchase. And that's really dangerous. That's really dangerous because then you're actually disposable. You're actually disposable. Listen, I don't think there's anything wrong with seeking out a provider, but the important thing is to be with someone who loves and respects you, because those provisions are coming out of love. Those provisions are being given out of a sense of, I really just want to take care of this person because I love them. That's it. That's it. I know that might be hard for some of y'all to fathom, but that's how it is for a lot of people. There are a lot of great men out there who provide for their families solely off of, hey, I love my family. I want to see them prosper. I see the value that they bring to me, and I just want to take care of them. There are plenty out there, and there are plenty of cultures that is the mindset, right? And when it's like that, there is no like, oh, I'm paying these bills, so you got to do what I say. Or, oh, I'm doing this, so you have to do everything that I say. Because essentially, I bought you. That's crazy work. Girl, all I'm saying is, as a young lady, make sure that you are getting to your bag. Have your own money. Because when you have your own money, you won't fall victim to people who think that they can buy you, who think that they can purchase you. And when you heal your relationship with money, money won't be so much of a ooh, ah, that somebody can entice you with it and entrap you and entangle your ass into some bullshit. I'll be honest, I'm 25 and I have come to terms with the fact that for a 25-year-old, I do make a good living. And the odds of me finding a 25-year-old man who also is in my tax bracket, it's going to be a little bit harder. So I'm less strict about dating in my bracket, and I'm more just like, okay, if I meet a person and I'm not willing to come down to their level financially, then I probably shouldn't be with them. If where they're at and what type of lifestyle that they can provide for themselves financially is not a lifestyle that I want to live, then I probably should not be with them. But I'm not going to expect someone who doesn't have the same resources that I do to provide me the lifestyle that I can provide myself. I don't think that is fair. I can either meet them where they are or go and try to find someone who is where I am. And I'm not saying up here, like up here and they're down there. I'm just saying. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope it had some good insight, some good advice for you guys. I hope it was entertaining. And speaking of money, I gotta get up and take my ass to work. It's time to go work. She works hard for the money. Yes, I work hard every day for some money. And hey, I love what it affords me, but I wish I could I wish I could just wake up and be fine and get paid. Why do I have to go to work? That's gonna be another episode. We're gonna talk about how working is a scam. Next episode, that's what we're getting into. Love you guys long time. I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I will get with you in the next one.